This is the pick for the pick six, which obviously is the difference in the game. We're talking about 6 points right here, or 7 points. Third and six. They're showing man, right? There's nobody high. They're showing man. You're anticipating at least one of these guys dropping back. Just to cut off, everything going into to the middle because typically, slants ends are the easiest things to throw on third down at the sticks, stop routes, all that stuff. So teams will send a guy to kind of just look for any crossers right here. And Rodgers never sees it, and it's a situation where he gets a pick six, and even right off the jump right here too, like you could there's a world where he could throw this because I only love that he threw the slant too, and I don't think it's going to work regardless if who he throws it to here. You have Peterson. Actually, I don't think Seven's Peterson still. I don't think Peterson's still on this team. Maybe he is, but I think it's somebody else. Whoever Seven is, he's sitting heavy in. He's sitting with inside leverage right here, so he's already anticipating an in break, and he's squatting at the first down marker with his hips open to where Garrett Wilson's going. This is gonna be really hard to throw versus this again at the sticks, sitting on any inside break, with inside leverage. And he probably gets tackled right there anyway. So I could even advise to maybe just give that toss it up to Lazard real quick or to Conklin right here and allow him to break hopefully one tackle or push forward through 24's tackle and get the first down. So that's the first thing. But again, that's very nitpicky. I think either one of them would have had a tough time. I just think that Conklin would have had a better one. Again, you get a pick six from Van Ginkel right here, and what we're talking about with like a hug rush or tagging a rush, they're both the same thing. A hug rush would be like, okay, I'm gonna blitz this B gap. If I'm not picked up if I'm not picked up by an offensive lineman, I'll continue to blitz that B gap. If I am picked up by an offensive lineman, I drop back into coverage. So a lot of teams will do that to occupy blockers for a second and then drop back into coverage. So now he's kind of occupied and there's gonna be somebody coming free. Now they are showing one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, seven versus six right here. So you're anticipating somebody getting free anyway, or you're anticipating at least somebody getting free at 6 on 6 unless you pick it up perfectly. Somebody's going to be free there, regardless. And that tag or that hug rush, clearly occupies ABT. So now you have a guy coming off free from the left side because you have a situation where it's 4v3. 4v3 because of that. Have to anticipate getting the ball out quickly, which Rodgers does. He just never sees Van Ginkel. But you got to check that because that's what teams like the Vikings do. They hide their guys. If they're blitzing, they'll sugar gaps with them and then drop them back into coverage. Tag rushes, hug rushes. It's what they do in their defense. And and Rodgers never sees it. Tough spot again. Could either get to Conklin right off the jump. He'd have had to put some arc to it. And the DB probably would have been there on him anyway. Again, it's a tough spot. It's a no-win spot. With that route concept, nothing was open regardless. Not open, not open, not open. It wasn't going to work. Unfortunately, but this is where some like motion and getting guys moving and getting like out leveraging a guy pre-snap can help, or you know, having your concepts kind of layered, not just multiple slant. What was that? A seam, a slant, and in. Not the most imaginative, but here we are. Another thing too that I want to note on this one is, and Nania pointed this out on Twitter. And I know JetX got hammered a little bit for asking to bench Breece Hall. And I'll just present you, and I'm not even saying bench. What do we mean by bench? And I even write the article. Does that mean him seeing zero reps? No. At least in my mind. Do I think that it should be a 50-50 split at this point? Maybe with Allen? Yeah. Until Breece Hall takes his head out of his ass, I do. Let's watch. Tell me if you like the effort from Breece Hall here. Past that, it's actually a good block. Watch him. You tell me if you think he's conceding into that block, because I'll tell you that he is. You know, you want to get over the top here? Yes, 1,000%, and force a cutback. He kind of ducks into the contact and stops driving his feet. Is he trying right there? You tell me. If you think he is, then I think you're a Breece Hall homer. Because I don't think he's trying very hard to get over top of that. I think he's fine with getting blocked, which is frustrating. You have guys, DK Metcalf chasing guys down, whatever it is. Is Breece Hall frustrated and he's just kind of he wants to put a hit there on Harrison Smith instead of actually making a play on the ball? Got to drive your feet and try hard to get over top of that. So I see a clear lack of effort in term and initially he like accelerates, he gets there and stuff, but why is he trying to hit Smith instead of getting on that tackle? I don't know, man. I'll leave it, again, I'll leave it to you guys to decipher. I was not thrilled with that when I saw that. That's just me. If you guys like that stuff, then that's you. But when you start seeing a lack of effort, that's a thing where like, hey, for accountability's sake, you might have to bench the guy, right? Um, okay, interception from Rodgers. This is the next. I think this is his next throw. This is the next series. I know it was back-to-back picks, and the Jets run one of another dagger concept right here, where you have the check down right here, you have the bender and the dig. You have Rodgers. I don't think that the idea isn't terrible right here because he does have leverage over top of the DB, but you got to put this obviously back shoulder, but still kind of on to Lazard, and he just puts it over. He puts it over his head. Again, he's making some throws that he always has, but he's also missing some throws that he never really did. I'm not gonna say this is the easiest throw in the world, but you didn't see Rodgers overthrowing a lot of guys in the past. And again, that may just be a fact that like, he's uneasy right now. He doesn't have trust. He's in his head. He's trying to make, you're talking about him coming off of a pick six, which he doesn't throw a lot. Now he's starting into his head a little bit. Okay, let me force a shot down the field, get it back, or get a drive back and kind of one play here, pick up 20, 25 yards. And and I'm sure he sees it, drops back. He sees the safety drop into cover two, and he thinks he can win this seam shot. But again, not the worst idea in the world. So it's not like, hey, you can't see what it is, but he just is a little bit, overzealous on that ball and puts too much heat on it, and it goes over. It goes into a spot where Lazard can't jump up and catch this, and you can't blame this on Lazard. There's no way. So he's got to put this with enough heat, which he does, but a lot lower, and obviously like back shoulder on him so he could attack it. And that's all it is. Again, crease concept. You have the clear out here, which is relatively, it's not rarely thrown. It's the dig is more thrown than that, even though that would have been picked up. Again, not a bad idea to throw this ball. The dig's not going to be open there. Either check down or get rid of this ball. You're talking about no, well, there you go. You're talking about third and 7 or whatever this is, and you're trying to pick up a first down. After throwing a pick six. Not a good play, obviously, by Rodgers. His arm does not, he doesn't just throw picks like that too often. I'm not concerned about that necessarily. It's not like he wasn't seeing the field. The first pick is worse than me. Um, but obviously still not ideal, right? You can't just miss throws. Offensive line picks up everything pretty well. Yeah, good job by the offensive line. Pick by Rodgers. Not see blitz from Rodgers. Again, you got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Seven Vikings on the line of scrimmage. You have six guys in production. Same thing. Look what happened with Van Ginkel. Same thing. He goes to get picked up. He drops back into coverage. It's exactly what happened last time. This time he didn't throw it, but now you still have that extra blitzer coming off the edge. I don't think Roger ever sees it. Gets smacked. Was anything open anyway for a first down? No, not really. And if you're going to say he is, he's not because you have two sitting on that. And if Roger starts to look that way, he's going to drive down on it. And then 24 leaves Conklin because Rodgers isn't looking that way, but nothing's open here again. So one, I don't like that the routes. I don't like that Garrett Wilson's routes 3 yards past the sticks right here. Could have been Garrett Wilson. I would say Garrett Wilson would have been open. Actually, that's probably what he was going to throw is Garrett Wilson right there. If he doesn't throw Garrett Wilson, that's a problem. But he should throw that. Doesn't have enough time. Doesn't know that the blitz is coming from there. I don't know. Can't, right? Again, Van Ginkel occupies a guy. Now you have two blocking one. You have two blocking one on that side. Situation where it's, 3 versus 4 again on the left side, literally the same type of deal. He has to get rid of the ball quickly. Doesn't, just doesn't see the blitz. Gotta audible there. Gotta get ready to get that ball out. That blitz is coming. Throw that ball now. Bottom of your drop, hitch, throw to Garrett Wilson. It's either gotta get out really quick or you gotta audible. You gotta audible the protection. You gotta audible the routes. You gotta do something. What you cannot do is just let the blitz just eat you up. But he wasn't going to throw the ball yet. So I don't know if he's even hit Garrett Wilson, but he should have. But he's not trusting Garrett at this point, and I get it. I know he had 22 targets for 10 receptions, 11 receptions, whatever it was. He got fed. He looked a little bit better this game, but Aaron Rodgers missed Garrett Wilson slant looky. Yeah, bottom of the screen right here. So the reason I think he misses him is because and it's isolated, right? You have three by one coverage. You have Garrett Wilson to the bottom versus number two, which I believe is Gilmore. Forgive me for forgetting the names of these guys. I didn't really listen to the broadcast. I was outside listening to it, or watching it, but I wasn't really listening to the broadcast necessarily. Is this supposed to be like a lookie route where he could sit this down? He could sit this down, or he could break this inside on a slant. And because he's inside leverage, Aaron Rodgers expected Garrett Wilson to sit it down right here instead of breaking it inside. Is that the miscommunication? Because it looks like he tries to put that on Garrett Wilson as he's coming out of the break, and Garrett Wilson expects the ball as he keeps running, which if you're running a slant versus inside leverage, then it's the wrong decision. So it's obviously impossible to know without them telling us like, hey, this is exactly what it is, but that's what I would anticipate it being based on the leverage of the DB. He had the option to sit it down there as well, like a lookie route, and he didn't. Good blitz pick up by Brees Hall, by the way. Two jet, pick it up. Hell of a job there. Aaron Rodgers fire that ball in there. Again, was it because of the route or did you just miss him behind? If you miss him behind, obviously, want to fix the footwork a little bit, step it into the bucket there, all that. It's Aaron Rodgers, though, so he's not going to necessarily fix it. So is it just a pure miss? And he's starting to miss a little bit more because he's 40, or is it because he was going to sit that down? I would argue that he thinks he should sit it down. Again, another miscommunication between the two. All right. Um, Aaron Rodgers, TD, Lazard. This is 3rd and 10. This is their concept. So I'm assuming I don't like the concept, but it's gonna be like just verticals again. Yeah, you're not again. It's not the most creative thing in the world. You have three verticals and two checkdowns. It's not daggers, creases, scissors, divides, sails, flood. Like I don't know. There's more concepts than just run straight. This is very like Madden-esque. Just beat your guy one on one straight, and it's you have three guys sitting in the end zone. It's going to be nearly impossible. You have five underneath, three deep. What are they? What are they? Who's supposed to throw to right here? This is again like we talk about like some of the stuff, the stagnant offense. It could be because of Rodgers and they're not going to run a lot of motion and all that stuff. But like the concepts too, sometimes are just straight verticals on 3rd and 10. This is going to work. Probably not. So there's pressure. Rodgers steps up and through. Lazard throws his hand up there, and Rodgers finds him in a tight window on the run. Again, it doesn't even matter. Drops back, looks at the safeties, looks left, looks right. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. Rodgers starts to feel just an internal clock go off. Scrambles and through, up and through. Again, sees Lazard's hands. Sees Lazard's hand go up. Sees Lazard's crossing behind Harrison Smith, who never relates to the route. Sees Harrison Smith never relate to the route. Fires a ball in there, right on his face. Well, he had to jump a little bit, but still, hell of a ball. Really good play by Rodgers. You got out of that pocket, and again, create something out of nothing. There was nothing here for Rodgers. Way to find him. Way to find the window. All right. 38. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson off. Drift stalk, so like a drift stalk concept. Okay. So just like a post wheel concept, but he's in a this is people call this like a drift or a stalk route where he's going to go to like fake like he's stalk blocking Harrison Smith and then release on a wheel. So it's just a post wheel. But it's a drift stalk. That's what I've seen it been referred to. Post wheel drift stalk. And it's a situation where him and Garrett are just off. Does he expect Garrett Wilson to actually, blame this on Garrett? Like you got to blame this on Garrett because he's running a dig right there, and Rodgers is throwing him not necessarily open, but he's throwing him out of danger. Like he doesn't want to lead him here. There's a bunch of green grass, so he just wants the Garrett Wilson to stop. He's gonna put it on his body. Garrett Wilson continues to drift up the field, and he kind of finds Rodgers' ball late, and it goes to stop and just completely slips. The ball is a foot behind him. Like if he were to just expect to sit down a little bit, obviously find that ball quicker, or just expect Rodgers to do that, then he doesn't slip. But there was another route. I don't know if it was last week or this week, but there's another play where like Rodgers was looking at him. I think it was last week, and he slips. Like he's got to keep his feet under him. Slips there and snaps him in a little bit wonky. Play action. Read the drift stalk. See the post, which I guess can be turned into a dig. Ball is not that far behind Garrett if he just sits it down, but he kind of just drifts and doesn't never finds the ball and falls when he tries to react to it. Not great. Okay, again, that should have been an easy 15 yards there. Talking about guys just falling, like talking about trying to beat a team who was 4-0 coming into this, and they should have. Realistically, they should have. How many times is Rodgers going to throw three picks? We're going to have five drops. You know, Garrett Wilson falling on a dig. Like, come on, man. It's just so many missed opportunities. And again, it feels like this team just cannot get out of its own way, and that's part of the head coaching too. So near shot to Garrett Wilson, arm hit. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. This is going to be a kind of a wild play. Again, nothing open, really. Unless you want to throw that to Mike Williams, but yeah, again, Gilmore's watching Garrett.